The Roblox face. A subtle yet effective addition to a Roblox player's avatar that, when used correctly, can create an expressive, standout character that the player can have hundreds upon hundreds of hours of fun with. No, wrong. Incorrect. You've probably never noticed this before, but most, if not all, of the Roblox faces available on the catalog right now are weird as hell. From the default smiley face, which looks like if someone tried to sketch the Germa sus meme in 2 seconds, to every Arthro face ever, I'll unpack these a bit later, don't you worry, to literally nothing at all. The one through line with nearly every face on the catalog right now is that they would never be considered acceptable in any sense of the word in any other setting. I could spend hours roasting every Roblox face ever in this video, but I think a much more time-effective option would be to start relatively reasonable and then march down to the depths of complete and utter insanity. So up first on the chopping block are some classics that we're all used to. These are just your average run-of-the-mill line art faces that are made up of nothing more than black lines and maybe even some white filling. In fact, let's take a look at the very first custom faces that Roblox ever introduced, all the way back in 2009. And yeah, they're pretty weird. The Chubbs face has a trapezoid mouth. Do you know anyone that has a trapezoid mouth? I sure don't. The Utto face has a mouth that's so close to its eyes in comparison to the rest of these faces that it almost looks like a nose. Speaking of noses, none of these faces have them. How do they smell? Probably like nothing because they're not real and just computer code, but I still feel like pointing this out. The Glee face's tongue is too small, 3 of these faces have mouths that are straighter than corporate social media logos after Pride Month, the Winky face has a mouth that curls over itself, the Check It face has one eyebrow that's bigger than the other, the Lazy Eye and 0.0 faces look like one of their eyes is about to burst, and no one's eyes should be vertically oval shaped. So, you know, it's pretty obvious that Roblox took an L on this face drop. And by L, I do mean Lego. Yes, I believe that the oddness of all of these early faces is, like everything else about early Roblox, partially inspired from the Lego franchise. It's no secret that the bricks in early Roblox took some inspiration from Legos, but if you compare these faces to early Lego faces, you start to notice some similarities there as well. The use of almost exclusively the color black, the simplicity of the shapes, the cartoonish appearance to the point of anatomical impossibility, and the lack of a nose are all through lines here. The art style also has through lines with emoticons, which are those little faces that we type out using letters, numbers, and punctuation when we're too lazy to search for emojis. Back in 2009, conventional emojis did exist, but their use was limited. So, Roblox went for the emoticon style, but the problem is that most non-Roblox characters simply don't have faces like that. It is not natural for a person's face to be that simple, and now that emoticon's prevalence in the texting world is significantly smaller than it was before, it's starting to become even less natural. Design trends have simply moved past classic Roblox faces, and even though they're still beloved by the community, that doesn't make them any less weird. But nevertheless, back in 2009, emojis were and still are one of the simplest ways to express emotions, and companies like Lego and Roblox heavily took advantage of that art style. It appealed to the many children who, as they spent an ever-increasing amount of time online, grew used to seeing and using those kinds of faces. But eventually, as we all know, conventional, easy-to-use emojis would soon burst onto the mainstream and become widely available on almost every online platform. Even in the early 2010s, these faces were miles more expressive and realistic than emoticons could ever be, and they would only keep evolving over time. As did Roblox faces. Pretty soon, in late 2009, Roblox introduced the Red Tango face, which was the first face to ever have a color other than black on it, and remains the most valuable face ever published to this day. And it, like every other Roblox face, is weird. This rose, which isn't even in the face's mouth by the way, it's on top of it, must be tearing this guy's tongue apart right now. Roses have spikes on them to protect them from predators, and that's in your mouth forever if you wear this face. You're literally eating thorns 24/7. Not exactly a very sharp decision, if you ask me. And I guess I should talk about this for a second because I feel like it might be another reason why Roblox faces are weird and even a bit eerie if you stop to think about them for too long. When you wear a face, it forces your Roblox character to live the rest of its life with that face and that face alone. You are cursing it to forever be only able to express one emotion for the rest of its life, which is traumatizing enough, but some faces like Red Tango force your character to do some pretty undesirable things. This one forces it to hold its mouth open and drool all the time. This one forces it into eternal weeping. This one permanently gives it uncleanable eggs on its face, and this one forces it to be constantly vomiting rainbows. One face even alludes to the fact that your face is stuck in the same expression forever in its description, which implies that whoever designed these knew exactly what they were doing to these poor things. These faces are pure nightmare scenarios. And yes, as some of you are probably thinking, it is a bit weird of me to keep thinking of these hypothetical Roblox characters as real human people, so let's imagine a scenario where they are instead characters in any game other than Roblox. Hey dude. Oh, hello friend that I share all of my latest video game related projects with. Would you like to see my latest video game related project? Do I have a choice? Of course not. Sure, what is it? Okay, so I'm actually designing the hero right now. He's got this really cool golden armor with like these enchanted blue jewels everywhere and this awesome crown that perfectly resembles the— Wait, why is he blowing bubblegum? Why is he what now? Why does he have gum in his mouth? Wouldn't that get in the way of his like heroic duties or something? Oh, well, I only have time to make one facial expression for him, so I thought, you know, might as well make it interesting, right? So he's just always gonna be blowing bubblegum? Even when, like, fighting bad guys and stuff? Yeah, what's so wrong with that? You can't do that, dude. It's not hygienic. How's he gonna brush his teeth? His breath is gonna smell horrible, not to mention how sore his jaw is gonna be from chewing all the time, and how likely he is to choke on that stuff when he gets throat punched by bad guys. Why would you do that to someone? Okay. Calm down. Maybe you like my design for the main villain better? Okay, just please, no more torturous facial expressions. You want people to be immersed in this game, right? Of course. Take a look. Whoa, that looks sick. I know, right? Man, I told you you'd like it. I told you, man. I told you. Is like completely natural. Thanks, man. I need like 100 fingers. I knew I could count the number of times my face has done that. Thank you so much. Bravo, man. Bravo. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? Now, luckily, times have changed. Roblox has grown a lot since 2018, and they've since realized that such silly faces don't exactly make a whole lot of sense. They've released retextures of the classics many times since, but those have mostly been for the memes and nostalgia value. But for the most part, Roblox did eventually start making higher quality, more realistic faces. They began to look cooler, feel less forced, and ultimately gain a new identity completely separate from both LEGO and emoticons, and holy mother of God, what is that on my screen? Yeah, there's a lot to talk about here. So basically, around 2012, Roblox was starting to look into further improving their realism, not just by improving their faces this time, but by improving the entire body of the character with something called Robloxian 3.0. Robloxian 3.0 started out with two bundles known as Man and Woman. They were meant to be the next generation of Roblox bodies, a step towards Roblox's future as a realistic-looking gaming platform. But to the community, this was entirely a step in the wrong direction. It's blocky yet curvy, it stretches any clothing applied to it in weird ways, it infringes on LEGO copyright even more than usual, and it overall just didn't fit in with any other body type available at the time. It was basically the Arthro controversy of 2012, and just like with Arthro, Roblox promoted the absolute crap out of it. They really pushed these bundles. They started out with a price tag of 75 Robux, but when Roblox decided they weren't exactly pulling the numbers they wanted them to, they decided to drop them to 25 Robux. And eventually they became free and included with every new Roblox account. So nowadays, no matter who you are, you will be saddled with these monstrosities. And that, unfortunately, includes their faces. I don't know what they were thinking when it came to these faces. They look like unfinished sketches of LEGO minifigure faces that you would find on the cutting room floor. Unlike with the classic faces, the features are realistically sized and positioned for the most part, but they've still failed to include a nose here. LEGO faces actually do have similar looking facial features, and they still don't include a nose, but they're not proportionally correct, and that actually helps them. The sheer presence of the rest of the face is enough to make the nose an afterthought in your mind, and that just doesn't happen with these. Also, we have to talk about these faces, because I'd say they're the most nightmarish looking out of the group. Pal face is looking like it wants to eat my soul for breakfast, and I feel uncomfortable just looking at it. There are rumors that this face was meant to be bundled with the Pal hair, and if that were to actually happen, I think Roblox would have been shut down by the government a while ago. Then there's the Buddy face, and listen, if you have braces, freckles, or squinty eyes, anything like that, that's totally fine by me. None of these things change how good you look, and all body types and complexions are accepted on the Lord Nitrous channel. This one just does it wrong. There are no bottom teeth, the freckles aren't evenly dispersed across the face, and the eyebrows are set in a pompous position that can usually only be achieved by spending an hour on an incel forum. Their goal here was obviously to make an ugly looking nerd face, and they've definitely achieved that, but it came at the cost of making it actually wearable. And finally, the Sarge Extreme face. When I first saw this face on the catalog, I'm pretty sure I lost my mind. If you haven't noticed already, it is absolutely caked in ketchup. Like, I don't know how many Big Macs this guy's just eaten, but it must be enough to give him a stomachache at the very least. This makes man is single-handedly keeping the tomato industry alive. Jokes aside, Roblox, you do know that this is Roblox, right? A platform where half of its members are too young to see PG-13 movies? Like, I hate to sound like a helicopter parent here, but if you're gonna shove out bans like this, you might want to at least keep that level of strictness with the content you're posting yourself. It's funny, and it definitely deserves to be memed on, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't at least a little disturbed here. There's a reason why the widely known members of this 3.0 family, the man and woman faces, are constantly memed into oblivion. They don't look good, and Roblox most definitely knows about this because they didn't even bother putting the rest of these faces on sale. That's right, these faces have no owners, and nowadays they serve as an actually kind of spooky relic of the absolute undisputable failure that was Roblox 3.0. The creepy, soulless eyes look deep into the hearts of every Robloxian and remind us that no matter how hard Roblox tries to make it go away, there will always be a limit as to what level of realism will work on Roblox. Roblox is a cartoony game at heart, and to try to turn it into something that it's not would rob it of its identity. Thankfully, Roblox saw this too, and no more 3.0 looking faces have been released since. With the 3.0 project abandoned, Roblox shifted its focus back to improving their less weird, simplistic faces, making them more polished and high quality. The faces were still weird, but in a manageable and charming kind of way. Everything was good again, and it still pretty much is to this day. Maybe Roblox faces aren't so weird after all. That's about it. Oh. A new Roblox Plus notification. I'd better go check that out. Maybe Roblox just uploaded a new face or something. Persephone's Girl Glam. Interesting title. You know what? As a final send-off for this video, let's go ahead and check this one out. What? This has to be a joke, right? This must be like a decal or something that Roblox Plus accidentally linked to by mistake. Yeah. Well, okay, no. It's published by the real Roblox account. Okay, maybe it's only temporary, like a placeholder for something? Nope, it's got its own wiki page. Cat Eye for Life. Get this exclusive item when you redeem a code from a Roblox toy. Check out www.roblox.com/toys to learn more. So this is a real face that people can really buy. No, that can't be right. No. While that skit was just a joke, it's pretty representative of the mental process that I went through after finding out that this thing is a real face that real people can really redeem from a really real-life Roblox toy and put it on their really real Roblox avatar. I mean, no disrespect to Dope Sir over here, because it's actually an amazing and super detailed drawing that would look spectacular in almost any setting. Except a Roblox face. The problem here, once again, is that Roblox is trying and failing to smash detailedness and cartooniness together. For one thing, as we discussed a while ago, Roblox faces can't have noticeable noses. There are faces out there that do have them, but they're never really the main focus of the face. They have to be mostly eye and mouth, which this super realistic art style doesn't lend itself to at all. It looks like if you were to take a fashion magazine, cut out the eyes and lips of the model on the cover, and paste it onto a mannequin head. It doesn't matter how you accessorize that mannequin, it's still not going to look quite right. It's made a lot worse by the fact that we're seeing it isolated on a gray background right now, which makes it look like the features are lunging out at us from the Shadow Realm. But even paired with a good-looking avatar, there's still something disturbing looking about it. And this is far from the only weirdly realistic Roblox face out there. There's Rainbow Spirit, where the lips are slowly fading away into the void for some reason. There's all three Torque the Orc faces, which I don't know why anyone would ever wear, and I don't know why they were made limited. We got the red lip Tate McRae face, which, like the pal face from earlier, looks like it thinks I'm the main course to a 5-star meal. And the pink heart makeup face, which gives you a nose wound that you can never heal from. I'd also like to take a second to throw in these 4 faces here, because they actually suffer from a more unique problem of being too unrealistic. They clearly tried to go for the weirdly detailed vibe with these, but they just ended up looking like rejected Roblox 3.0 faces. If you're gonna go for a weirdly detailed face, just go all the way. Also, this one might want to see a doctor because I think it might be allergic to something. And I'm sorry, I know this topic is overdone, but I also have to mention Arthro faces here, because if anyone's an offender of this smashing realism and cartooniness together trend, it's definitely these things, and their faces are no exception. The difference is that some of these aren't even good drawings. The Lynn face is nothing more than a bunch bunch of rectangles haphazardly thrown into something that vaguely resembles a face. The Squad Ghouls Drop Dead Ted face looks like it was ripped straight from a bad early 2010 zombie shooter game, and the neoclassic faces are 5 sizes too small for a Roblox head. Some of the noses on these faces also have weird white or brown smudges on them for some reason. I think it's to highlight the presence of the nose, and it actually does a pretty good job at that, but it also makes it look swollen and bruised, like the character just got clocked in the face really hard. So what we have now is an absolute mishmash of faces that range from charmingly yet weirdly simple to frighteningly detailed, on a platform where the games you can play usually fall somewhere in the middle of that spectrum. And I think it's here that we find the final reason why most Roblox faces seem so weird to people. And that's that Roblox faces don't really have a cohesive identity anymore. All of these iterations of faces that I've talked about in this video have raised their own camps of fans and haters. Some people love the weirdly realistic faces and think that they add that extra bit of coolness to their avatar that simply couldn't be achieved with the simplistic classics, while others appreciate the simplicity or just have nostalgia for the classic era. Others hate faces altogether and elect to go with the headless head or cover up their faces with a mask or hat. The only group of faces that I think we can agree no one unironically likes is the Robloxian 3.0 faces. If I have to see that pal face one more time, I'm going to have to file a restraining order on it. Anyway, with all of these different camps of people out there, it's really become impossible to decide the exact right way for a Roblox face to look, and no one player can truly be satisfied with every face out there. The pessimist in me thinks that this is a major problematic inconsistency that serves as nothing more than fuel for needless drama that could have been solved if Roblox had simply refrained from throwing Royale High faces onto the catalog, but in the end, I feel like it's for the best. It's true that Roblox is still a largely cartoony game, but it's moving further and further away from that every day as its capabilities and its developers get better and better. Realism on Roblox is still pretty new, but as time goes on, it's going to improve, and realistic faces will eventually find their place here. At the same time though, players nostalgic for the simpler times will still be able to enjoy their classics in peace. I think Roblox is just a little early to the party here, but hey, it's better to get somewhere early than never at all. Before we end the video, I'd like to leave you guys with a little bit of a mystery to solve. Don't click off the video yet. This is still related to Roblox faces, I promise. In my last video, we briefly discussed an old contest from 2007 called the Homestead Furniture Making Contest, and I mentioned that one of the prizes for winning that contest was getting your own customized character. Since character customization was still not a widely implemented feature back then, it was basically like getting a hat made exclusively for you, except on a much larger scale. Winners were asked to make a model of how they wanted their character to look, upload it to their account, and send it to Roblox to be made into their real Roblox character, and they were allowed to change their body parts in whatever way they wanted, from editing colors to changing the transparency of the body parts, to even adding their own custom images to their torsos. And heads. As a result, for a short time, 4 different players got to go around wearing custom faces of their own design. Toazuku and Police Modeler chose random decals not resembling a face at all, but Kadi and Mike D slapped together a completely customized face of their own design and stuck it on their characters. Using an older archived version of the Roblox client, Twitter user Dynabroth was able to extract the base 64 code that made up the old assets for these faces and convert them into images. So if you'd like access to them, you can visit this video's description for a link to the Twitter thread. However, no one really knows where those custom faces are on the Roblox website nowadays. What happened to them once these winning players had their characters changed to normal ones? Maybe they were re-uploaded as decals like we've seen in the past with this sort of thing. Maybe they were replaced at some point with a different face altogether. Or maybe they really were completely stricken from the platform, never to be seen again. I don't know, let me know what you think happened to them in the comments down below. Click another video or the pal face will come murder you in your sleep tonight. And I've been Lord Nitrous, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!